Maybe if I can initially just say that I don't agree that the world is headed for more than 2 degrees. I think it's very clear that we're going to reach 1.5 degrees in the early 2030s. Even if we undertook far more rapid reductions right now than governments are planning, that's simply the inertia of the global energy system that drives us there. But how far above 1.5 degrees we go is entirely up to human agency and actions, and is still entirely within our control. That's exactly the relevant action space. We are committed to reaching 1.5 degrees. How far we exceed it is a question of human action, and whether or not we exceed 2 degrees is entirely a question of whether we actually there's still time to really make progress to avoid exceeding 2 degrees Celsius, which would be an important next barrier that we certainly do not want to exceed, even in the slightest. But I mean, even in the nearer term, we will see more extreme events, and that's where the sharp end of climate change impact is playing out in the near term, in the sense of more heat waves, more severe floods triggered by severe rainfall, with an attendant consequence of landslides, greater risk of severe drought in some areas, and of course these extremes do not happen in isolation. So we're going to see more and more compounding and cascading impacts, either a succession of different types of impacts, say, the large-scale forest fires we've seen in various parts of the Northern Hemisphere this summer, then followed by very heavy rainfall, which may be compounded by the fact that there's already a greater risk of soil erosion from large-scale forest dieback as a consequence of fires. And that in turn will then challenge the ability of institutions and governance to actually deal with these things. Many countries struggle to deal with a single large-scale extreme event like a major hurricane. But if we have successions of these events and cascading impacts that also cascade across different parts of the world, mediated by global trade in food commodities, but then also human migration, that creates a very complex system of escalating risks and impacts. And I think that's something that unfortunately anybody alive today will witness increasing, and people who are children today will see the full gamut of that. But it's still within our choice whether young people today will see a peak and then a decline in global temperature, or whether we allow temperatures to continue to increase over their lifetimes.